Welcome to our special red carpet event, the fashion show for May of 2021. This month's theme is the Garden of Eden. My name is Christie Ramirez and I'm your soul coach. So today is a very special day. First of all, because I am filming today's fashion show on my birthday, which is May 1st, the first day of May. May is a very important month of this year when it comes to the spiritual journey. And the theme of this month ties in so nicely together. I also did a cake design as I usually do for these fashion shows because I feel that I really do channel extra messages through those cake designs, which I did this morning, and I will be reading the channeled message that I wrote along with it. But before that, I first want to acknowledge all of the red in this room today, all the beautiful red roses of passion, of love, and of true transcendence of whatever has been holding us back from this new life, this new earth. This is what the Garden of Eden symbolizes. This is why I'm wearing basically a garden. It's my birthday today, of course, and I love red roses because, believe it or not, the Taurus zodiac sign, which is all usually born on May, they are ruled by the planet Venus. So this means that the Taurus sign is all about love. Venus, the ruling planet, symbolizes this love and beauty that's coming for all of us on the spiritual journey, especially those who have been following along with these fashion shows and the love show even, and are resonating with the path of this spiritual journey. Maybe you're on this wavelength, and I'm really feeling that this is definitely the last month to continue to purify our body, mind, and spirit so that we can reach the culmination next month. So this month with the Garden of Eden, as you all know, is from the book of Genesis in the Bible. The story of Adam and Eve, the spiritual lovers, the twins, but it's also symbolic about reaching heaven on earth, reaching our earthly paraiso, which we spoke about in last month's fashion show, which Dante explained in his artwork. The Divine Comedy, as he called it, is truly a little bit of a comedy because we are in the major test right now. And during the test, it's not necessarily the real thing yet, but we are being called to believe as if it's the real thing. That's the comedy part of it, right? Because someone outside looking at that person or looking from within who doesn't understand the spiritual journey is going to see it as a comedy, as something to be mocked, as something that is another language for them, right? But then that's the comedy of it, because that is the true, that's the irony, right? The true way to live is actually in the ethereal realm. And that's what I'm going to explain in what I wrote today. But before I get to that poem that I wrote, basically, I want to just channel here because I really do feel that this is all of light. You see all these beautiful white little flowers surrounding the true lovers, the true beauty, the passion that we have for what we do, for our mission even, is growing and blossoming. It's still in the beginning stages. As you can see, these roses are still pretty much babies. But give it a week and they're going to be wide open. And I'll make sure to showcase them as well. And you're going to see this is how we grow in the spiritual journey. This is what the soul evolution is about. It's a continuous progression that we need to believe, even though things might seem like it's not, or others might not believe, or things might be getting in the way, or you're confused about what's next, about your future. But that's the test, right? Doing things with blind faith and just with love, with passion. With all your projects, do it with joy, do it with love. I can't emphasize that love really is the answer to all things, to healing even. Healing, to sacred union, to mastery, to abundance, heaven on earth, all of these things. But it really requires our focus, our diligence, and above all, our commitment to this journey. Despite it getting difficult along the way. Don't let that get in the way and stand in the way of your soul evolution. Save your soul and keep growing, keep going, keep climbing, keep blossoming. Open up your heart as well as the message for this month of May as we continue to purify body, mind, and spirit and do the healing that's necessary to reach an innocent, vulnerable state again as a newborn, hence the rebirth theme of this year 2021. We are in the culmination of it because we're reaching the middle of the year literally next month. So everything is tying in beautifully together. So this is why all of my events are very important for you all to watch. And this is an event again provided by my Spiritual Counseling TV network. If you like this show and also the Love Show, which is also free, provided by my Spiritual Counseling TV network, you want to become a member and get access to all my other exclusive content, such as my daily morning spiritual guidance videos. Every morning, give us a little bit of God's advice for the day. You get your weekly therapy sessions, weekly motivational speeches in line with that theme, a weekly Q&A show to answer your questions about the journey, and a weekly couples therapy talk show. All of those things help us on an emotional and mental level. And then of course I also have a special Women's Empowerment Forum show series that's getting really good. We're going deep into women's history and learning about our past so that we can make better decisions in our present that will influence our future. And there's great things coming up, new topics, new themes, so stay tuned, become a member, ChristieRamirez.com/TV. My name is Christie Ramirez and I'm your soul coach. So let's get started then with today's red carpet special fashion show event. And I like to give it the Hollywood theme because this is what Hollywood is about. It's about entertainment. This is an entertaining way to teach spirituality. And I love the whole dressing up part of it, the glamoring up. That's one of my hobbies. So I just put both of them together because I also love to speak about the spiritual journey. And it's just a reminder as well. Don't believe in everything that you see necessarily in the media or in society just because it's popular. Remember, this is about empowering ourselves this year and making our own decisions as to what we find significant, what's actual worthy conversation of the table and what's not, what's superficial and what's true, what's real, right? So these are things that we really all have been working on and a little bit of shifting in ever since last year's 2020 awakening. We're really being asked to question how we live our lives, what we value and what we don't, and who we really are deep down inside, our soul, right? Because it's not about the flesh and only the physical part of it. That's 3D living. For those of you who resonate and who want to continue to evolve on your soul journey, you eventually want to reach 5D, 6D and above. You want to transcend the purgatory state, which is what we talked about last month, which is the 4D, which is when you're still awakening, when you're still learning, when you're still confused even, or when you're resisting. And anybody stuck in that 4D situation probably wouldn't even be watching today's event. Because this is a special event today. I'm talking to those who are transcending. I'm talking to those who are open to growing into the higher realms. There's a lot of higher realms that we have yet to reach as a human species, up to 12D, and I actually do have some few notes about that in my red notebook, which I actually will bring in here today. That's a great educational point to bring in today, because it's been a while since I touched that notebook and I read over those dimensional notes that I wrote about all the 12D stages. So let's get started. I really do feel like all of this can be very, very educational. Okay, so I'm bringing out my sketchbook today, and this is the month's theme for May 21. The Garden of Eden. This is a beautiful white cake filled with red roses like you see here, which is pretty much actually the same colors as we see, just in this format. So let's let's read what I wrote, what God wrote to us for this month. The Garden of Eden represents the Garden of Passion, with capital letters, as the gates to earthly Paraiso, aka heaven on earth, open up for light workers who have been committed and devoted to their godly mission, as well as diligently following God's instructions with all these new changes. As you do this, as the gates open up for you and as you walk and pass through, new golden opportunities await on the other side. This is just the beginning. Those truly serving, those truly deserving as servants to the collective mission are starting to see the fruits of their labor. Now this is a very important note here. God is describing the term servants as proudly serving the mission, aka being of service. And as I was writing this, actually, I didn't write it down, but I was thinking about the Virgin Mary, September even, which is the zodiac sign. The symbol for it is the Virgin, the servant as well. That's what Virgo represents. And I feel like there's a significance to September when it comes to this journey that we are building up to. Okay? Those truly of service are humble before the divine and trust his crazy ideas. Because most of these ideas and divine inspirations that we get from God are truly out of this world. They seem crazy to the mundane person, but when you see through your spiritual eye, you're going to see the reason for it. Okay? We have the Midas touch right now, as everything we touch turns gold, because heaven is on our side. We are collaborating with divine timing, all in capital, divine order, and divine plan. When we serve the mission with love and passion, we manifest our highest visions into reality with more accuracy, grace, and magic. This month is a stage of anchoring our dreams by making our life a vision board for our Paraiso. Paradise is here for those who open their spiritual eye and see beyond. This is a moment of connecting more to the 5D, 6D realms and leaving the 3D, 4D behind in the past. You can live amongst the 3D world, the humans, while living your higher dimensional worlds. This is what the new earth shift is all about. It's already here, only it's ethereal. So only those who have an open spiritual eye will be able to even experience it. It's your choice. This is what the spiritual journey awakens and reveals as a possibility for your life. How do you desire to live your earthly life? That's what God is asking us today. May you live your best life ever. And we've all heard that cliche saying. But this is what the deep core of that means. Love, Christie. So that's a beautiful love letter that God wrote to us today. And now I really want to bring in my notes about the 12D dimensions. Okay, yeah, so as we're back, I wanted to share with you before we get to the notes, make sure that you join my School of Light membership subscription program, because currently we are learning a weekly poetry class, meaning that every week as I do these love shows or fashion shows, I take advantage of the love energy and we go deep into our poetry class, because this poetry class teaches us about the journey, the spiritual journey, but also about love. And I bring in William Shakespeare as well. It's very illuminating, so I really suggest you take a look at it. You're gonna love it. And of course there's more other educational videos, classes, and courses that I do there on a weekly basis and weekly and monthly basis, because there's a lot of in the curriculum. So you want to take a look at it. And now let's bring in my red notebook here. I have a little red notebook here where I write just important information. And this is the day to take a look at this information. and this is exactly where I wrote it. The 12 strands of DNA that we are all awakening to, and this is very much tying in with something that I said in one of my spiritual talks, in the one that I was in the gold room. I think it was the full moon in Leo. And I said there that currently this year with the rebirth, we are being activated at a DNA level, like in our sleep, in dream state. This is cosmic consciousness that comes into play here, cosmic talk, that I will be bringing in more in a new show in my School of Light, because this is what's currently happening. Why a lot of us light workers are experiencing heavy ascension symptoms, which I will also be teaching in an upcoming book, in an upcoming episode as well. And there's a lot going on that goes way beyond even just the spiritual journey that we're dealing with right now, and even the love journey. But now there's like something else happening at another level, at a more profound, deep level, which is at a cosmic level. And that's where we're going to bring in more cosmic talk as well in my School of Light very soon, most likely this summer. Okay, and let's get started. Let me take another sip of water. Okay, so let's talk about the first D strand. So whatever it's called 1D. This is the integration of fear. This is definitely the lowest of vibrations that someone can be at. This is like the ultimate jail, people dealing with mental health issues, lots of fear in their life. That's where A Course in Miracle comes in to save your life literally and take you out of that victimhood mentality, because that's what it is. Okay, the second D, or the second strand of DNA, because that's what D stands for. It stands for DNA. So when we're talking about 3D, it's the third level or third strand of DNA. So you're not at your highest potential. The highest potential is the 12D strand. And if you think about it, the dolphin spirit animal has been really coming up strong. And it's been like over a year since I saw dolphins in an ocean view that I have an ocean view. And like 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, every now and again I would see dolphins. But it's like ever since last year, ever since the whole thing happened worldwide, it's like the dolphins disappeared from our reality, from our vision. They weren't around because we were living a very low dimensional state with all the fear that was going on last year. And let me tell you that literally last week I finally saw 4 dolphins swimming by. I saw their fins like several times, and it was 4 of them. And that's significant because this is our journey towards stability, number 4. And number 4 as well, if we take a look at it, that is the symbol for the planet of Jupiter. In astrology, Jupiter represents opportunities, doors opening up, the gates of heaven, heaven on earth, earthly paraiso. It all comes in together now. Okay? So that's our goal, because dolphins are highly telepathic beings and they're living their higher dimensional reality. They're very rare species, and we need to be careful as well, because with all this pollution that's happening in the waters, they are becoming extinct and they're going to disappear from our 3D reality, not from the 5D people. And you know, there is this mythology that goes along with it, that even mermaids are at a higher dimensional level, right? Like the 60. All the mythical creatures, fairies, mermaids. And some people have been known to see them because they're at that dimensional level and they call on them. Okay, so this is just things to think about. That we're not living our highest potential yet. So be open-minded is the key, because if you're closed-minded and you stay stuck in the matrix, obviously you're not going to be able to experience something greater. So remember this saying and apply it to our soul evolution. Great things never came from comfort zones. And your box, your matrix, your 3D reality is your comfort zone, because that's all you ever known since you were born. Okay? So the 2D dimension, or the second strand of DNA, I'm still getting used to talking like this, is the ability to focus on an aspect and follow it to completion. So this has a lot to do with achievement oriented. It also just means being able to do things, simple things like learning to walk, learning to run, things you learn as a baby, okay? Because if you think about it, when you're first out of the womb, there is a little bit of sense of fear for the little newborn, right? This is also the rebirth process if we're thinking about it. When we're coming out of the womb, when we're coming out of the awakening, out of the dark night of the soul, out of facing our shadows, there is this sense of fear from past traumas repeating itself. So there's a lot of healing that needs to be done. And this is what the second level helps us to reach this new completion. And it can be anything. It could be an artwork. It can be a project. It could be your life's work, a mastery at something. Okay? But basically it's also representative of us being manifested as physical flesh out of the mother's womb, right? Like think of Jesus, right? When he was born from Mother Mary, that was the completion of making him flesh. The third strand of DNA is the upholding of gender balance of masculine and feminine within. Because this is acknowledging that our soul within, hence why angels as well are androgynous. When we manifest as flesh, when we reincarnate as well from past lives, like when we have multiple lives, and you reincarnate, that's the second level, the completion, the reincarnation, and now are you going to manifest as a feminine or masculine, right? Because the soul within is both, the yin and the yang. And of course, everybody living in the 3D realm only sees masculine or feminine, even based on organs, based on features, not beyond in the soul, right? That's the superficial kind of love as well that people get confused with. Because there could be women that are masculines, and there could be men that are more feminine oriented, right? So that's where also relationships come in. Why two people in a relationship are incompatible and they don't know why. Because they might both be the masculine energy, or they might both be the feminine energy, and that's why they clash. Okay, so that's just a little bit of psychology for you, because I actually learned that in psychology. And also in my spiritual evolution, my research. So what's the 4D, otherwise known as even purgatory? This is the equilibrium between our energy field and the physical body. This is our equilibrium between our spiritual self, our higher self, our soul within, and our physical body in flesh. Okay? Balancing our life. But like many people have been doing this, and this is what we've been doing this first half of the year. But now, for those of you who are at this level that I just mentioned in the writing, the Garden of Eden, you've stepped into the 5D. Not necessarily the next strands, which there's more to come in the following months. But wow, how interesting as well. We are in the 5th month of the year, May, right? 5th, to live peacefully in a state of acceptance. This is the harmony that we've all been wanting to reach. Serenity. Living peacefully even among the thorns. AKA a rose has a lot of thorns, but it's a beautiful flower. It's one of the most beautiful flowers in the garden. There's a lot of chaos happening worldwide. But for those of you who have stepped into this 5D, you're still living a harmonious, peaceful life, and in fact, better than ever. Because you've been doing the work, you've been doing the healing, and you understand at a deep, profound level, which is what we do by going to school, by studying, by learning, right? By opening our ears, our minds, and our hearts. So let's learn about what's next, so what we can expect for the next few months until we reach December, which is 12D. How appropriate, because you know I've been getting Christmas so much. I've been getting the holidays as being the culmination of this year, which of course ties in with the Lightwork University presentations that I do. Next year is the metamorphosis, the true transformation, okay? Because we're going to be ready. We're going to be collaborating and co-creating with God, with heaven, with source at that level. But we're still working on healing and being rebirthed as a white being on earth, as a light being. Okay, so the sixth dimension is the strengthening of the spine to stand in one's truth. So this requires a lot of assertiveness, which is one of my topics, actually the 6th week topic as well, in my new Atomic Soul Coaching program. You definitely want to purchase that program. It's going to help you during this year. And this is our ability as well to defend God's truth amongst the 3D world that we live in, among society. Continue to defend this truth and commit ourselves to this mission. That's part of what 60 is about, and we're being stronger, strengthened. Like superheroes in a way, right? Light superheroes. Spiritual strength. And then the 7th strand of DNA is the ability to accept the dark and the light, aka through forgiveness, duality, and compassion. Accepting the duality that we spoke about in March's love show, right? The duality of love, the black and the white, that's inevitable. The world is made up of both. But you can live even amongst that and stay in your light and not be affected by it. That's why we get strengthened at the 6th level, so that nothing can penetrate our light aura. The 8th strand of DNA is the capacity to hold personal boundaries, aka leadership skills. This is exceptionally the rebirth at this moment, August. Right? Infinite potentials open up for us, possibilities to express these leadership skills, because we now have the capacity to hold our personal boundaries. So we can be of service to the collective and still have balance with self-care, self-love, and not take it home. This is kind of like the classic balance between work and play, right? Not taking the work from the collective work that we do as a mission, because believe it, it's like doing therapy for the world. Not taking it home with us, having a personal life. That's what the 8th level is representing. Being able to have a double life in a way. Kind of like, think of Wonder Woman, Superman. They all had double lives, right? And they were happy with it, because they were fulfilling what they came here on earth to do, yet still living a happy earthly life. Even though one of them wasn't necessarily the superhero per se. Think about it. The man that the Wonder Woman fell in love with, he wasn't necessarily a superhero, he was a human. And Superman's woman that he fell in love with, Lois, she wasn't a superhero, she was a human. So you can still live this regular life, is what it's saying, while still fulfilling your mission, okay? And of course, there's other comics that do give the story of Wonder Woman and Superman coming together. And then there's also the Batman story. So who knows what's the real story, right? But that's amongst the point right now. 9th strand of DNA. The ability to accept and live in a diverse community. Again, this is a little bit of humbleness. But what I'm feeling is, this is living amongst a community that's lacking this light, this love, and you are that beacon of light, aka why they need our help as light workers. So accepting that not everyone is like us, like light workers, right? Because if not, there would be no need for these light workers to come and incarnate if everybody was at this level. The 10th strand of DNA is the capability to listen and to tune into the higher self. Now this is a higher level of spiritual communication than what we're already experiencing in the 5D. This is already the above. This is like even where the Pope's level comes in, why they live in the sanctuary, the monks, because they've reached this level where they've dedicated their life to being in communion and direct communication with spirit. And there's a lot of silence that needs to get into that. But just higher spiritual gifts developing, basically. And you can still get that living a life here on earth. Earthly Paraiso is what it's saying. So how do you get here? I wrote here in my notes, spiritual practice, daily. aura purification, of course keeping our heart pure and innocent as well, cleansing rituals, and alignment, body, mind, spirit. My health and wellness brand, Body, Mind, and Spirit, is going to really help all of you with this aspect. Of course, also with the extra spiritual practice of my spiritual book club, which is a special feature in my School of Light. So you want to be a member of all my resources to get more information about the journey. So now what's the 11th strand of DNA? I wrote here, it's the command over oneself to envision, create, and manifest the vision of the 3D. So this is anchoring here. This is alchemy, manifestation. Seeing the bigger picture, this requires spiritual discipline to actually make it come true, making our dreams a reality. This also can be telepathy, I wrote, and astral travel, which are higher spiritual gifts from the higher chakras, which I will be talking about also in an upcoming book. And then the 12th strand of DNA, and we're going to be talking more closely about this in detail as we get closer to each month. The 12th strand of DNA is the ability to be accepting, kind, and to hold appreciation for all things and to see all things in the spiritual eyes of unconditional love. This is the ultimate enlightened being, a Buddha here. And this is, of course, where my Buddha talk and my spiritual gatherings teaches right now. We're learning about this through what I study. This is oneness, finally reaching cosmic mission to completion. Ahimsa, basically. So what's this DNA? The DNA is to understand ascension, the ascension ladder, and the awakening process. This is where light codes activations come in. And I'm going to read this extra notes that I wrote actually. It was actually the first version of my spiritual gathering that I did, but I started it over. But these notes right here are important. What are the Buddha qualities of the enlightened being? This is what our goals should be. Unstoppable strength, Superman regenerative abilities, healing powers, a huge heart, self-discipline, control over his mind or her mind, tranquility, aka inner stillness, inner peace, patience, moral conduct, very important, learning, intellect, aka divine intelligence, hermit, even being comfortable when God wants him to be alone, because it is in that aloneness that we seek enlightenment, spiritual teacher, a sage, which is all-knowing, modest, aka humble to the divine, respectful, and also master of the 6 perfections, which are number 1, patience, number 2, giving, number 3, morality, number 4, vigor, indefatigable energy, so never getting fatigued, basically, endless energy, meditation, and 6, wisdom. But this is profound meditation, which is what we're learning in my meditation series. Take a look at my health and wellness brand. And then also master of all the trances, which includes meditation and yoga, which I'm also teaching in my health and wellness brand. Stillness, attentive analyses of the heavens, reborn. And what a beautiful way to end today, because this is how we are reborn, by and through the heavens. The heavens, the angels, spirit team is helping us with this transition. We are really connecting to angels lately at my School of Light. My weekly angel study class is a 3-part curriculum. The first part of it is our archangel study, which I just began that, and the history as well of angels and archangels. The second part is what we've been working on this whole year, which is learning about the 72 angels, the 72 states of consciousness, divine qualities that we can all embody into our life to help us transcend human distortions. And remember that angel study is an ancient teaching. So this goes way back, way back to the early centuries. And then in the third part of the curriculum, we're going to go into more like how they communicate with us, numerology even a little bit, synchronicities more than anything, angel numbers. So it's going to be very important for all of you this month to take a look at my School of Light. Be open-minded. My spiritual counseling TV network. Take a look at the therapy sessions that I'm doing and the motivational speeches. They really are tying in closely with this ascension journey. How we can continue to heal and progress up the ladder, the golden ladder, by doing the healing. My new 10-week soul coaching program. Purchase that program. The book is coming up soon as well, later this year. And it's going to all help you transcend, heal, and just finally let go of the old self and step into this new you, into this new world. The new earth that's waiting for all of us. The gates of Eden. The Garden of Eden, the gates of heaven. The gates of heaven into the Garden of Eden. And that's our earthly Pamirez for all of us who've been doing the work. Thank you for joining me on my birthday today. And just to share with you all, I am 32 this year. And it's a great number because I'm really closely tied in with Jesus as well in his life. And we're going to be talking more about this. Of course, we talk about it in A Course in Miracles. In our Bible study class, we're going to bring in more extra stuff. Very good. So it's going to be a 2-part class now. We're learning the Bible, but we're also going to bring in the lost books of the Bible. So I'm so excited for that. And we're going to learn about the early life of Jesus and how he came to be. And remember that he finished his mission here on earth at the age of 33. And I'm going to be 33 next year. And it's tying in mostly metaphorically with next year being the metamorphosis. And then the following year is finally the kingdom of heaven that I channeled. The kingdom here on earth, the earthly Pamirez. So Jesus is really working with us very strongly during this year, last year, and all these moments that we're dealing with difficulties, any challenges. Jesus is coming to heal us, especially with the light workers, those who pray to him. I always pray to him every morning. I've been really solidifying my practices, my spiritual practice, my way of living, my spiritual lifestyle, my prayer and my meditation every morning, which is very different. Meditating and prayer are very different. And I'm even constructing a prayer book, which I want to share with you all one day, exclusive as well, in my School of Light. And yeah, I feel like that's it for today. I am going to now teach a weekly poetry class today. I'm so excited to open the book to see what's today's theme. And I, of course, always like to give a little sneak preview here in this video. But I will see you all next month for June of 2021. Thank you for joining the special red carpet event for May of 2021 fashion show. The theme is the Garden of Eden. Have an amazing and beautiful month, everyone. Namaste.